Hi everyone.
And welcome to the 25th Hour.
I'm Bria Alford.
And I'm Marc-Andre Cassette.
We're coming to you today from the town of Almonte.
A 40-minute drive southwest of downtown Ottawa, Almonte is a rural town home to 5,000 people.
I'm Erica Giancola, just across town from Bria and Marc-Andre. Our show today focuses on community, where we find it and the joys and challenges it brings.
And I'm Dave Dean. We have a lot happening on the 25th Hour today, from a male burlesque troupe to a wheelchair rugby team, to minority women in the arts, and the role pets play in mental health. Our show today is as diverse as a community should be.
The auditorium here in Almonte's Old Town Hall hosts everything from community theater and art shows to feature films and big band swing dances. It's fitting that we're kicking off our show here today with a different kind of performance. The Bytown Boys are Ottawa's first boylesque troupe.
These men are challenging conventional standards of beauty and gender norms, both in their community and beyond.
My favorite part of burlesque is just, can sound a little cheesy, it's just being fabulous. Well, my name's Wet Willie. I'm a male burlesque performer that we casually call boylesque in the scene. And that's about it. Myself and I think one other boylesquer, we started performing on a regular basis, and then it's almost like, then all of a sudden we started popping up like daisies everywhere. Just like,
my name is Jovan Morales. I actually run this establishment, Kinky Lounge Kitchen. So I'm the bar manager here, so bartender by night and burlesque performer by night. I don't do daytime. I was offered a teaching position to try to get more boys interested in burlesque. So over the course of that month, there was 3 other guys that came to every single practice. We formed a good friendship and a bond, and so we decided, okay, well, let's try something out.
and then we were enough that me and a few friends, we just formed the first Ottawa male burlesque troupe, which is the Bytown Boys.
Men coming into the scene, it was a little bit hard to break that ceiling, simply because it was a female-dominated art form, but it was also a female empowerment art form, and so as the gender pendulum swung, people were more open to, yes, men also need body positivity.
Welcome to Dangerous Curves! Ottawa's first all-plus-size burlesque review. Do you know what that means? We're all fat!
At first I started burlesquing as a drag queen, taking off my clothes, maintaining the feminine illusion, because at the time I wasn't comfortable with my own body. Seeing plus-size women take the stage and taking off their clothes and seeing the audience cheer and roar for them, I was like, I think I can do that too. And then I finally got the courage one time to just like take off the wig, so to speak, and perform as me.
Put your hands together for Wet!
Like I felt invisible as a man, like as a chubby man in the gay community. Like, you know, there's a horrible expression that goes like, it gets better, you know, unless you're fat. You're taking off your clothes and suddenly people are cheering. And that's something that you've never experienced before, like especially me being a plus size guy. Like nobody ever cheered when I took off my shirt or anything anywhere. This was different, so it's a really great confidence builder. The bros would come up to me and go like, oh my god, dude, like you got like so much courage performing on stage. I just stopped giving a fuck. You know, like I just stopped caring about, like, I'm not courageous for doing this. I'm just tired of hiding. But in my day-to-day life, like, I feel like I have to tone it down because sometimes people say like, oh, that's too gay, or that's too out there. And then on stage, that's the one place where I can just like, let the gayness explode like a giant Care Bear going like. The statement I like to make is I want to inspire plus-size men, regardless of sexuality.
The men are guests in this community. We're not front, we're not main stage, we're not the ones that are pushing the envelope, but it's about the art of seduction and glitter.
The auditorium here in Almonte's Old Town Hall is known for its awesome acoustics. Many artists who visit the community say it's a great place to perform.
Our next story is about a group of Muslim women who decided to take to the stage. They're celebrating their diversity and breaking through stereotypes.
These pretty words and sweet melodies were meant to be shared with all.
I think I started singing before I could talk.
I love this voice.
So music for me is my form of expression.
Pretty words and sweet melodies were meant to be shared with all who can see that beauty lies inside you and me.
There was a time when I wasn't sure whether the arts and Islam were in the same path. So I kind of went away from my music and stuff like that. So I hadn't really written a song until we started this group. Expressions of Muslim Women started back in 2008. When we started this, we had a really good discussion about the arts and the importance of the arts in Islam, and it should be important to Muslims because it's an extension of ourselves. So a bunch of us showed up at our meeting, and we brainstormed the idea of doing an art show. That we could do something as women, as Muslim women, that was proactive and that would show how we are from our own perspective rather than having anyone else speak for us. Performers would share on stage poetry, dramatic arts, song. You know, we kind of look at Muslim women and think it's a homogenous population. So yes, we're all Muslim. That's what connects us, but we're very diverse. We're diverse in ancestry, we're diverse in experience and context. How other people speak for us, sometimes it's not quite correct because it's taken out of context, or it's taking one person representing a whole bunch of other people. We're tired of people always saying that Muslim women are oppressed, blah, blah, blah. So we wanted to celebrate our creativity. We have so much to celebrate, and creativity is one of them.
Something else, or like, do you want us to help you with something? Or?
No, I think it's okay.
One person, she started off when she was 13. Now she's 20. So it's great to see how she's evolved.
Everyone's looking for home. Sometimes it is in somebody else. Sometimes it is in a land that your mother tongue does not have a word for. Sometimes I forget what home feels like, smells like. Sometimes I forget the iron taste of the well water. I've always imagined it to be the blood of our ancestors. But sometimes home is not good to you.
It's given me this support, this community support. It's given me the chance to meet many people in the audience and other performers. This definitely gave me a very semi-professional environment to build my talent and to build my network. And I think that's very important for all artists, but especially artists that might be underrepresented in the mainstream cultural settings.
Recently we had this one lady who she plays the guitar, she's a singer-songwriter, and she's always wanted to share her talent, but whenever she's gone to different events, it was never, I don't want to say allowed, I guess it wasn't never permitted. So one day she saw this advertisement for our auditions, so we have auditions for our show, and the picture that it was in our local Muslim paper, Muslim Link, and it was a picture of me playing guitar. So then she knew that she was going to be okay if she came for the auditions. And so when she came for auditions, she said it was so nice to see that I could share this with somebody.
This larger-than-life bronze statue is James Naismith. He spent his early childhood here in Almonte before moving on to the big leagues. Naismith invented basketball in 1891.
Naismith was big into team sports, including hockey, lacrosse, and rugby. He used his experiences on the field to dream up a whole new ballgame.
As you'll see in our next story, sport also helps a group of players create something unexpected, a community that connects them and helps them figure out how to tackle challenges in their daily lives.
I saw the sport for the first time at the Ottawa Rehab Center when the local team, the Ottawa Stingers, would practice. But at that time, a couple months after my injury, I wasn't interested in playing wheelchair rugby. So it took me a while to accept an invitation to a practice. Now, I gave it a try and I went to the rehab. They lent me a chair and I had a really good time. That's when I realized that I really missed the competition, and being a part of a team and also meeting a lot of guys that went through the same challenges as me. What I liked to do the most when I was a kid was play sports. So whether it was with my friends and my brother, we would just get together and play hockey, play baseball, play any kind of sports. That was definitely my favorite pastime. I'm a very competitive person, so just being around guys and testing each other to see who's the best at every sport, I think was something that I thrived for and I really enjoyed. Playing sports, it was a big part of my life. It was just a part-time job for the summer. I just finished a year of college and I was working on the second floor of a house that we were building, and I fell from the second through the first right into the basement. I fell on my back, my head hit the ground, and I fractured the 6th vertebrae in my neck and damaged my spinal cord, which meant that I was paralyzed and I've been a quadriplegic since. Imagine at 18-year-old when you're starting to be very independent. You know, I was driving, I was living with my brother, I was playing hockey, I was, you know, working everything. And as in a matter of a second, I lost all of that. I was depending on a lot of people. It was definitely a hard time in my life. At the beginning, I wasn't sure what was going on. I still had hope that maybe I would walk again or regain my function. But when you know, I realized that that wasn't going to be an option, that I would you know, probably be paralyzed for the rest of my life, it was definitely hard to accept.
All of us know what it's like. When you're there, you kind of feel alone. You really don't think anybody else, even the nurses who worked here for like 25 years, they don't really know what you're going through. They see it a lot, but they don't know and they can't understand. So it's nice to have somebody come up and contact you, because then you know there is that connection out there. And if you're not ready for it right now, eventually you will be, and you'll seek it out.
When we get to meet new people that just got injured, we try to show them that there's a lot more to life, and to give them hope that there's still a good life to live, even if you just suffered you know, a pretty severe injury.
Rehab can only teach you so much inside the walls of this hospital. I mean, nurses wait on your hand and foot, and when you get out into the real world, it's a lot different. And so the things that you can learn through sports about not just sport, but everyday living is being taught through different means.
To be honest, it took me about 4 years to be completely independent after my injury, and I owe it, you know, a lot to the sport and meeting those guys. Just, you know, it's kind of funny putting on pants in the morning, or, you know, there's always some techniques that help. I wasn't really sure how to transfer from the tub to my everyday chair, and one of my teammates showed me how to do it. Obviously, he was dressed in the tub.
It's on and off the court. I mean, we play rugby together, but we still spend time outside of here with you know, going to events and concerts, hanging out, just going for beers or whatever.
You definitely cheer those guys on that are moving up and beyond. It's always fun to keep track of how they're doing, and it does give you an extra purpose to come out to practice, because you know, even if you're not making it to that level, you're supporting the guys that are. You're giving them somebody to practice against and practice with.
I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with my life, and I was really lucky to find this sport, because it took me to about 13 or 14 countries around the world. And playing a sport for a living, I don't know what else I could ask for, right? It's a sweet job to have.
Well, I have 2 kids, and they're little girls, and I think they like to come and watch me play whenever they can. And I think it's really valuable for them to see me not just pushing myself at home to do everything that everybody else is doing, or going to my full-time job or whatever, but coming out here, having fun, pushing hard. They get to see that whatever you want to do, you can do. You put your mind to it, you can do it.
I know how much the sport helped my life. It changed my life for the best. It is important for us to spend time together, whether it's on the court or off the court, because we can learn so much from each other. Even if sometimes we do talk trash a little bit on the court, we still respect each other a lot, because we know that we went through the same challenges in our lives. It's like having a second family, and it's something that I grew up with, that I was missing, and I'm able to have it now in my day-to-day living.
Almonte is known for being a friendly town, and here at Baker Bob's, you can be sure to run into someone you know.
Getting to places like this, though, to have a coffee with friends or neighbors, gets difficult as one gets older, especially after the death of a spouse.
Mills Community Support is an organization working to show Almonte seniors that they're not alone.
It's interesting. I had 7 in my first marriage and inherited 5 in my second. So there's 12, 6 boys, 6 girls. I'm close to half of mine, very distant from my stepchildren, since the death of my wife in July. No, this is my own son's son here, with their 2 babies. That's Mary, a picture of her and me. It's a totally different world. Once my wife died, I'm a different person. There's different friends, different choices, different things amuse me. I'm putting myself into different things. I mean it, that's like a distinctly different world now. All of a sudden, I'm trying to do cooking. I could build a bridge, I could do anything that way. In the end, rather than, I made my first grilled cheese sandwich the other day because I was losing weight and I thought I was going to force myself, even if it's junk, eat it. And it isn't, but sometimes you don't feel like eating. So I had to force myself. In any event, you're cooking meals, but for the first while, with the death of somebody you don't know, and I hope you don't know for a long while, you've got all the forms to fill out. You know, the pension, the benefits, the burial expenses, all that kind of junk. So that keeps you amused for a while. And good friends are calling you or making it a point to keep in touch. But a lot of people die off. It's like you got a plague or something. A couple of bills came in. Mary had done all the bills and all that. I never paid anything. I just made the money to pay all those damn bills. It's funny that those kind of little things are a distraction and they take time and keep you amused. It's along this line. I force myself to go out and talk to people because I'm by nature a person talking, you know, etc. Like some people aren't, they're inward. You know, they're more introspective. I'm thinking of the outside and the things I've done and the things I hope to do. Like for example, Mary and I did kayaking. We took that course up in the Madawaska, you know, to learn how to kayak. She did the role before I did, and I'm the athlete. And I've never forgotten you for that, damn you. Your whole life has changed. My life was built around my wife. Everything else was secondary to my wife. I mean, people say that, but I've lived it, and I am living it now.
Well, Almonte and Mississippi Mills, the municipality that we're part of, and indeed all of the north half of Lanark County, has a much older population than most of the rest of the province. Typically the situation that we see is someone who lives alone in a rural area, in an isolated way, away from other homes, with very little contact with people, no ability to get out and drive, and so they simply rely on supports and people coming to their home in order to stay there. Many of them just want to stay in their home. Their husband or wife may have passed away recently. They want to live independently. Most people want to age and die at home.
Inside the Mississippi Valley Textile Museum. It's one of Almonte's many popular tourist attractions. The National Historic Site offers visitors a blend of old and new materials.
25th Hour's Emma Tranter spoke with museum curator Michael Rickley Lancaster about the fabric of a small town.
I'm Michael Rickley Lancaster. I'm the Executive Director Curator of the Mississippi Valley Textile Museum. My job, I run the museum, And basically with running the museum, I basically manage we're a National Historic Site, so I manage that aspect. So managing the restoration and care of the building itself. And I've been working here now for coming on 10 years.
So what has the reaction been from the community? I guess, what does the museum mean to a community like Almonte?
It's definitely, I can see a huge change within the last 10 years of the organization. We've accomplished a lot of really exciting things with the museum, so we've really come a long way. And during that process, it made the community more aware of the organization and more pride in the organization. And it kind of goes back to that saying of you build it, they will come, and it really has made a big impact, and the programming that we've done along the way as well. So to learn about how it actually operated, learning and actually going to a woolen mill and seeing them operate, learning about what they did, so we have a better understanding from fleece right to the final woven cloth. But also it's an arts and cultural diverse community, and people really embrace the artistic side. It's really quite amazing how much the community has changed over the years. And thinking around 1980, it was a woolen town or a mill town. And within a short amount of time, it's become this arts and culture hub.
You do have an assistant here at the museum. Can you tell me a bit about Neville?
This is my dog Neville. He's partly an employee of the museum, and quote unquote, but he also is my buddy at home. I rescued him in November, and he has made a huge impact, positive impact at the museum. It really has helped it's refreshing to have an animal around it, and it's a historic thing that often people would have cats in museums, mainly to protect with mice and stuff, but it also makes a more positive work environment.
So you talked a little bit about how people here are very passionate about the environment and preserving the landscape in Almonte. So there's a construction project going on at the dam here. Can you speak to that a little bit, or maybe what people are feeling about that?
Definitely, it's been a real bone of contention with a lot of people in the community, not majority, who are quite frustrated with the fact that it's changing the landscape, and definitely, I think there have been a lot of protests and fights against it, but it's progressing.
Give me some examples of some of the projects that have happened here.
Yeah, well, there's quite a bit of exciting projects. One of them, and I'll mention that we do annually in September, is we have a fiber arts festival called Fiberfest, and we have about 100 fiber-related vendors that come and sell their product in town, and then we have a dozen or so exhibitors and demonstrators demonstrating weaving, spinning, etc. And it's really grown huge, and we get 2,000 to 3,000 visitors just during that weekend to come to the event. It's something where we actually now, for the first time ever, are getting people out of province wanting to be a part of the event and buy a booth space. So it's really exciting that it's growing like that. The other aspect is we've really grown the last couple of years and become a real destination for film crews. So there have been several different Hallmark movies shot in town, including in the museum. So it becomes a really good revenue generator for the community. And I think it's also just real cute. It's really fun having the film crews come and shoot in the museum, and then you see the museum and other buildings in town in the movies, and everyone gets excited to watch the movies, whether they're good or bad, but they're just still fun to see the scenes of Almonte in these American scened movies. The fact that people have still held on to that textile history here and have contemporary textile shops in our downtown. So it's just an all-around worthwhile day trip.
Despite Almonte's reputation as a friendly town, there's been widespread anger over the developments happening along the Mississippi River.
The 25th Hour's Megan McFadden gives her opinion on how the Enerdew Dam project is dividing the town's residents.
Behind me, construction is underway for the hydro dam expansion along the Mississippi River. For years, residents in the small, tight-knit community of Almonte have been trying to stop the dam from being built. They believe it will ruin the scenic waterfalls and rapids that run through the heart of the town. Mississippi Mills Mayor Sean McLaughlin predicts that the dam will harm the environment and damage their tourism industry. It's caused a huge rift within the community, pitting residents against the owner of Enerdu Power Systems Incorporated, the company responsible for renovating the dam. Despite the protests, the project has moved forward. Meanwhile, the province has both praised and endorsed the project as part of its clean energy initiative. Angry residents of Almonte have called on the federal environment minister to intervene. So far, her response has been muted. Is this another case of not in my backyard syndrome? Or is this an instance of the provincial government once again putting corporate interests before those of its citizens? It appears the only one who benefits from the construction of this dam is Enerdu. None of the additional energy that is generated by the dam will be diverted into the town, and no new jobs will be created. Only profits for the company. The residents of Almonte are the ones who are going to feel the effects of the dam most acutely, and not through a reduced hydro bill. The evidence is damning. Just another sign that democracy is underwater.
Life can throw plenty of twists and turns at us. For Anne-Marie Johnson, the bend in the road came as the result of 2 bouts with cancer.
Johnson started taking art classes after her latest diagnosis. For her, the sketches have become the bridge between herself and those she encounters on her daily commute. Johnson started taking art classes after her latest diagnosis. Her sketches have become a bridge between herself and those she connects with on her daily commute.
Something about art, but when we take a talent and we try to kind of interpret what's around us, the people, the things, the events, it captures the interest of people around us. When people find out that I have had cancer or I'm dealing with it right now, their attitude to you changes. They become delicate, whereas before I might have looked robust or just healthy or just normal. All of a sudden that C word is in the conversation and it changes the perceptions that people have of you. It's just an event that's kind of given me another reason to look around and appreciate the wide variety of people that we live amidst and get to know them a little better. A reason to talk to them. Well, maybe not the cancer, but the art definitely. When you're faced with a diagnosis like that, you face your mortality in a different way. I've always had an artistic bent, and so because of the cancer diagnosis, I started thinking, well, you know, one day I'm going to have to, our family is very religious, at one point I'm going to have to account for my life here and the talents that I was given, and okay, I had this, I've been given this talent, I know I have it, but I haven't done anything with it, I haven't expanded it. So, and I don't know how long my time here is, so I better do something pretty darn quick. Our instructor had invited us, you know, you're learning a new skill, take the opportunity wherever you are, anytime, and any place to sketch. The normal bus I'm on, you get to know faces, and there's never been a reason other than to say hi and smile to talk. And so I brought out my sketchbook and I started sketching this woman who was standing at the front of the bus. Well, now I have a few people that I know that I've actually asked, can I draw your picture? And so as they're sitting there and you're drawing their picture, a story evolves, their story, who they are and why they're on the bus at that particular time. And it's kind of nice because it builds connections, builds a community. It's like the bus is a moving little city now of people that we may know. And I know I'm an extrovert because whenever I get depressed or whatever, the worst thing you can do is leave me in the house by myself because I'll stew and I'll whatever. And that the best therapy is to toss me out into the public and out the door and lock the door behind me. Maybe my unconscious attitude was show a different face of cancer, somebody who can live with it and still see the positive and be happy.
I think it's really interesting. Sometimes on the bus, it's not the funnest thing, traveling from bus to bus, so it's really interesting. It makes it, I think, a bit more fun, actually.
I'd like to be around longer for my kids, and so especially for grandkids if they arrive. And again, because we have a special needs daughter, I don't want to leave my husband on his own, worried or concerned or taking care of her without me around. I think life is like a great university where we're being prepared for greater things, but we have to learn, we have to test the limits, we have to write the tests, take the challenges, and after that, well, we're stronger as a result.
This space, tucked inside Almonte's Old Town Hall, is known as the Green Room. It's where performers and artists go to relax before their show.
Susan Righeb is based in Ottawa. She's a painter and a teacher who's picked up a brush and a blank canvas to help her find meaning in life.
It's just for me, I just always just wanted to paint and just put it out there. I've been drawing since I was a child, just on anything, paper, books, in class especially, all my science books, my math textbooks, everything had doodles and drawings on them. I would be sitting on the couch, I would draw, in my room, I would draw, anywhere, outside, just draw. I was always doodling. It was in maybe grade 4 when we would have art projects in class. Students would hover over me because, oh, Susan, draw this for us, or can you draw this for me, or can you do this for me? And there were times it got really overwhelming because I couldn't finish my work. Well, I've been through a few situations throughout my life, and they weren't really good places to be. I found that when I did draw, I basically zoned into my own little bubble. It helped me very much in terms of escaping from a lot of these moments. It calms me, it's like a solace for me. And this is why, for me, I try to encourage people to utilize art as a form of expressing themselves. I decided to wear the hijab in grade 8, and it was a completely random decision. I don't come from a family that's very religious. I didn't anticipate what was going to happen. It was, no joke, it was utterly an ambush. All my friends, or were friends, saw me and they were pushing me, kicking, spitting, name-calling, and it was like, it wasn't so much the comments that were made or the questions. It was really people staring at me. That affected me much more than anything. Just staring, they're constantly staring. And I'm like, God, just let me be. Psychologically, I began to behave in a way where I would lessen myself. I just didn't want to deal with it anymore. I developed some kind of social anxiety, really. And for a while, I became sort of sheltered. I just wanted to stay home a lot, and I just wanted to paint, because painting takes me away from everything, right? I paint with beautiful and vibrant colors because I want to portray beauty, and I want to portray an idealized version of the existing world that we're in, to beautify our existing world and take people away from the negativity, even for a little bit. I want you to think about the things that you love most about yourselves.
You're a very kind-hearted person. You are shy. You are funny. You are a leader.
When I started teaching and when I would see the student produce, and then when I'd have students come up to me and tell me, you know, you changed my life, and I'm sitting there like, wait a minute, what? How? Because of the fact that there are a lot of women or younger girls that are like me, and unfortunately a lot of times they feel that they're restricted. And for me to be there and to have art exhibits throughout the city and be their educator at the same time is sort of an inspiration for them. It encourages them indirectly to pursue whatever it is that they want to. I believe 110% that everybody has something that they're good at or they have a talent, but not a lot of people have tapped into them yet. You know, you're a teacher because you have a specific role in society and to these children, really, and to be there for them if they need somebody. It's very important. I'm happy that I have this thing, this gift that's been given to me so that I can release and express to the world how I want to portray this place.
It's beautiful. Really good.
Yeah.
Positive comments, girls. Positive. Yeah, that's positive. Being a nerd is very
We've talked a lot about people helping other people and how community can grow out of those relationships.
But community can also come from canine companionship, like Almonte's friendly neighborhood dog Larry.
Ottawa paramedics have found that support and friendship in Max, Canada's first therapy dog in a paramedic service.
What's the nature of your emergency?
So Max he's very confident, he's kind-hearted, and he's very intuitive. After critical stress calls, when paramedics come back for peer support, Max is brought back. We're trying to keep paramedics from, one, getting occupational health injuries or PTSD, this program, with our peer support. And we're trying to just prevent paramedics from really leaving the workforce. Once you leave, you can end up getting isolated, which doesn't help. So that's really what he does.
As paramedics, every day is different. Every medic will tell you that. We see a lot of stressful things. You're trying to manage the scene with a mom who's screaming at you or trying to grab the baby out of your arms, or a mom and dad who are fighting, and then you might leave that call and go to a car accident where somebody's dead and you are trying to actively revive them beside a family member who's very aware of what's going on. And I mean, that isn't our typical day, but it's all possible. You do have those wild days where you're just like, wow, I can't believe my day. You can come in after a day and you're super frustrated, you're angry about how your day's gone, you just want to go home. And you walk in and there's Max, and he's super playful, and he'll run and grab your stuff out of your hands and take off on it, and you just end up staying a few extra minutes, petting him, playing, and you just go home in a different mood.
I think the biggest impact he's had is he's made us more social with each other. Not that we weren't before, but we're more now when he's around. When I picked up Max, Max Keeping was in his final stages of cancer. He was told that he was terminal. He's a family friend of ours. He would write an email like, hey, would you like to go to a Sens game, or could we meet for dinner? And then at the end, he would always put in quotations, live life to the max. So when I got Max, it was just, there wasn't a discussion. His name was going to be Max. Sorry, I'm going to cry. I had Max, and he had this little purple dinosaur because he loves stuffed animals. And I just threw the dinosaur And I let him off his leash, and I was like, guys, I have paperwork to do, but Max is here, you know, you can play with him. And I went and got Max a water bowl and put a water bowl down, and then I gave them like a little bag of treats. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go do my paperwork, and I'll come see you. And when I came back, they were like just smiling and so happy. They were taking selfies with him. And they were on the floor with him, and it was just like all of that work in 1 year. And I wasn't expecting that either. Like, you don't know what the outcome's gonna be after your work, but just to see the reaction.
It's really sad to think of your fellow coworkers who you come in and you know, you work with every day, and you go to similar calls with every day, and you never know what you're going into. And it's really scary to think that you could be living a very happy life and stable life, and in one day, one call, that all goes out the window.
I think my proudest thing about this whole program is other people around North America are now doing it. So we've had, you know, probably around 75 to 100 inquiries about the program. My service has said, share your materials, so we're giving them everything that we have, and other services are now doing it. Now it's just trying to get rid of the stigma and you know, telling paramedics, don't tough it out. Go talk to someone and get that help. What he does is he makes people laugh and smile, because he's fun. I'll go and take your mitts out of your bag, and we have paramedics that bring him snacks every day. And he waits, and he knows who they are, and as soon as he sees them, he runs up and sits. And I think the paramedics just really enjoy watching everyone else interact too. It's not just about an individual, but you see a team. I think it just really de-stresses a room when he enters it. Kind of makes it a happier place to be. Not that it's really unhappy, but just this added, you know, trusting, awesome, fluffy, great dog. We all love him. He's our family now. And while you see how he reacts in the building, this is Max's second home. He's always happy to come.
We've really enjoyed our time here today in the beautiful and friendly town of Almonte. There's something that's so comforting, I think, about spending time in a community like this that's just so close to the nation's capital. So Mark, after spending time here today yourself, what do you think?
Well, we were really welcomed by everyone we met since we arrived in Almonte this morning, and to me that's just a reminder that no matter where you go, people will welcome you and help you on your way. So we're going to wrap up today's show with Erica and Dave, but from Bree and me, thanks for watching this edition of the 25th Hour.
Thanks, Marc-Andre and Bria. If we learned anything today, it's that it takes a whole community to put a show together.
We're a group of students about to graduate, and we'd like to thank the producers, writers, and journalists that helped make the show happen.
This is the last episode of the 25th Hour for this semester, but we'll be back with a new cast and crew in the fall. Thanks, Almonte, and thank you everyone for watching.